2, 1, go.
Hi, welcome back to our next unboxing video. Now, I'm a little bit worried that this one is going to be kind of boring, but also very exciting. We have 332 pounds worth of books to unpack. Actually, I should be honest, there are times where you have to yield to temptation. One of the boxes was much smaller than the others, and so I opened it. On the positive side, and in my defense, I took pictures of the books as I took them out. So I'll put those up on Instagram so you can see the books from the missing box. However, we have 8 other boxes to open. There's still a heck of a lot of books in here. So this video may go really long. I'll try to break it up, I think. I don't really know what I'm doing here, so let's jump in. Now, first thing I noticed in this box was bubble wrap, and there's something that makes me sad about this bubble wrap. I'll show you. Yeah, unpoppable bubble wrap. It's like that. I imagine from the shipping perspective, it's much more useful because it doesn't lose its ability to defend things. Now, speaking of its ability to defend things, this is what got me excited about the box. Because you don't put bubble wrap on Kleenex, usually, I find. You put bubble wrap on something awesome. Speak of the devil. Actually, let's do this one. The Temple of Shamanic Witchcraft. This is part of a series put out by Christopher Pensack, who's an awesome author. If I recall, there's 6 books in the series, I think. I was building up to having the full series on our shelves. However, one of our customers loved it and snagged every bit that I had. Well, for you, we have this one now. Now, I probably can't take too much time with each book because there's an awful lot of them. For those of you who are fans of green witchcraft, specifically the author Anne Mora, and you may have the same problem I do. I constantly call her Anna Mora, and that is wrong. But Anne Mora put out a new book, and this one's called Mansions of the Moon. Now, if I recall, I think Mansions of the Moon as a concept originally started in Arabic, like in Arabic belief. And I know that Arabic is not a religion. I get it. I'm giving you an area of the world. I don't know exactly where it came from. Suffice it to say, though, very much like astrology, where there are different kind of houses where the planets convene, it means different things. Very, very similar concept. Not exactly the same, but very similar. One of the funnest things about it is that they have the mansions of the moons. They have some really interesting names that are a bit of a tongue twister. For those of you looking for something a bit more obscure, but some way of kind of fine-tuning your lunar influences in your magic, this is something that'll probably help a lot. Or for fans of Anne Mora, it'll help fill the hunger for the next bit of her writing. But I shouldn't really do a book review on each and every single one of them because this will take forever, and you'll be watching this video for the next 5 hours. Yeah, now, who knew we were going to be like Lord of the Rings, right? Now, this is part of a series as well. I have Dedicant, Initiate, and there should be one other, I can't remember. This is a series that I haven't read or owned myself, but I read reviews on all the books that I brought in, and I really liked this. It came with a lot of great recommendations from people that I really do trust. So I look forward to maybe getting a peek at it myself, or at the very least bringing it to somebody else who it's meant for. Speaking of things that they're meant for, Raven Grimassi, he's kind of a popular pagan author, especially in recent years. You may know him from titles like the Encyclopedia of Witchcraft. This is one of his most famous books, actually. At least I think it's one of his most famous. It'd be hard to say which one is his absolute most famous, but Hereditary Witchcraft is when he looks into kind of the traditions of his family. If I recall, he's kind of Rom. For those of you who don't understand Rom, and I'm sorry for those Rom out there, or Sikke, who will hate me for saying what I'm about to say, but commonly known as gypsies. Okay. Anyway, that is Rom Magick. Bam! Really cool stuff. And speaking of cool stuff, actually, this is one I was looking forward to getting to meet. Another book that I haven't read, but read plenty of reviews for, Ancient Roots, Many Branches. This is something I've wanted to see a lot more about. This one looks at a lot of kind of classical religions and societies, and shows, you know, what's kind of come from them. I guess as per its title. Oh, now there's one I've been looking forward to. It's small, but it is dense with information. It is called Ancient Pagan Symbols by Elizabeth Goldsmith, and I've heard some excellent reviews. The funny thing is, almost like a person, I expected it to be taller, but it isn't. It's small. Next. Now, most people, actually, if you've been to a New Age shop at least once, or an occult shop like ours, you have seen some of the Bible series. And they're not meant to be sacrilegious, not in the least. What they are, though, is that they're great kind of introductory books to a subject. Quite often they're very dense with information, and they're usually laid out very well and colorfully, which makes them easy to read, especially for earlier readers. Now, I'm not saying that you need remedial English if you're reading one of these. That's not what I mean. What I mean, though, is that they are very entertaining in the way that they are constructed. They're a great way to digest information and at the very least get into something. You can fine-tune it with books that go more in-depth into various different portions of the subject. But if you're looking for a way to introduce yourself to something, most of these little Bible series are fantastic for doing just that. In this box, we have the Astrology Bible and we have the Wicca Bible. I haven't read either of them. I don't own either of these ones. I own a couple of the other Bible series, and I really like them. And they all are very, very true to form with, again, the very, very colorful interiors and just presenting information in a very easy to digest manner. And very clean. That's one thing I like about the editing in these books, is that they always have this really neat kind of clean feel to them. Oh, now here's one I'm probably going to catch a little bit of flack for, but especially with as a country working toward reconciliation, I really, really wanted this book, especially given some of the reviews which were given by First Nations people. Those were the reviews actually that I liked the most. A white guy can say a book is great, but I'd much rather hear that from a native when it's, say, native wisdom for white minds. Now, I know that there's going to be probably some accusations of cultural appropriation, perhaps even some of racism, and people are welcome to think that. They are. People can think many things. Some people think the world is flat. However, well, actually I really like the quote on the back. You don't have to be white to have a white mind. So who's this to? This is for people looking to learn from First Nations traditions or looking to reclaim First Nations traditions. Looking to, I hate to use other people's terms, but looking to decolonize their mind. That's one of the reasons I brought it. I want this to be a place of spirit and of understanding and cooperation. And this is yet again one of those steps towards that. You may have an opinion. This may be a very, very polarizing book. Feel free to tell me how you feel about it. You don't have to tell me an opinion that I'm going to like. I'd like you to sound off if you want to. If you have something that's burning and you need to say it. I'll do my best to address any concerns brought up, and I'll share my perspective, which is really all I can share. But yeah, if you have a burning need to speak about it, let's start a conversation. Let's get a dialogue going. That's one of the joys of democracy. We don't all have to agree, but we sure can express and communicate to one another and help each other get a view of what's going on. Ooh. Now, on a completely different topic, much lighter. Now, the cover of this book, I don't think really does it much justice. It's very much kind of a green witchcraft book. I was trying to put the words together. Did you see that? It's by Silver Ravenwolf. It's called Hedgewitch. But it takes a very, very natural look at magic. And it has a really nice kind of typeset. That's the general feel that goes all throughout. I don't know what to call that feel or that styling, but it's definitely palpable. Now, for those of you who are into mixing oils and want to produce some of your own magical oils, well, we have plenty, but there's nothing quite like something you make yourself. It really isn't. As such, we have mixing essential oils for magic. This is a bit of a formulary, but it's also a step-by-step guide. It's really quite phenomenal and has a lot of information. It groups a lot of the scents into kind of categories and then gives you some suggestions. So if you're looking for something kind of citrusy, floral, herby, it'll help you out. It's really quite fantastic. And it helps you work on designing formulas where the scents will be balanced. There's a lot more science to it than I know, having not made a huge study of it. But for those of you who do, this is likely a book that will excite you and maybe even answer some questions. This is one I've been looking forward to meeting. I, once again, don't have it, but this is a daily meditations on the feminine spirit. It's called The Goddess Companion, and it's very much geared around reclaiming and getting a clearer insight into the sacred femininity in all women. It's meant to nourish the spirit. The same way that there are men's mysteries and there are women's mysteries, and this is for the ladies. Now, I very much enjoy a lot of Buddhist thought. I really do. This is why I brought in Beads of Faith. Now, this isn't just about Buddhism, mind you, but it discusses pathways of meditation and methods of spirit, especially using things like rosaries, prayer beads, and sacred words. It comes with a CD as well. So I guess just a thing to keep in mind, you're not only just getting a book, you're also getting music to go with it. Ooh, now kind of along the Raven Gramassi line. Oh, look at that, it's Raven Gramassi again. I told you he was a somewhat prolific author. This is another one of his books, Italian Witchcraft. This is all about the strega, or sometimes called stregaria, I imagine. Essentially the Italian word for witch. Definitely an interesting book. I don't own it myself, but I have talked to many witches who really liked what they found in there, and so I wanted to bring it in. I've really got to speed up on a book-per-book level. Now, I have been asked a few times why I don't have a lot of stuff on Christianity in the store. The answer is kind of simple. We want to carry the commonly uncommon. There's a lot of shops which supply to Christianity. And most New Age stores, you'll find crystal angels, you'll find books on angels, and so I wanted to keep us more into the commonly uncommon. However, that said, Silver Ravenwolf wrote this book, Angels, Companions in Magic, because there have been inquiries. I wanted to carry something of the variety. And you're going to see another book, actually, oh, I've already shelved it. This is one, a title which is going to upset maybe a few. It's called The Occult Christ. There's also another one on Christo-paganism in one of these books, boxes, rather. There's a lot of mythologies that hold that angels existed before the advent of Christianity, back in the time of Zoroastrianism and Mithraism. Now, I am not a pre-classical or pre-Christian scholar, so I can't speak with great authority on it, but other people have done research and can speak with a lot more authority than myself. And being that all the books are not just of my taste, they're of everybody's, well, hopefully everybody's, if they're hard to find. And this was one I could definitely not see being carried at a place like Kennedy's Parable. Although they serve the Christian community very well with many other products, I highly doubt that they carry this one. So, it lives here. Or, until somebody finds it, and it goes and lives with them. Now, here's another one. I was iffy about getting this book, but the reviews really convinced me. It's a scientific approach to out-of-body experiences. All the other books that we have either come from the viewpoint of witchcraft, or they come from various different spiritual practices or theosophy, stuff like that. And I wanted to bring in something that looks at it from the scientific method. I'm very curious to see what it has to say. Now, if you have a scientifically angled mind like I do, you may very well find this as interesting or intriguing as I do. So, this is here. The scientific approach to the out-of-body experience, demystifying the out-of-body experience. I actually like the shortened form for out-of-body. Oob. It's like boo backwards. It's like a dyslexic ghost. Ugh. Now this is part of a series, if I do recall, Knowledge is Power. Scientia is Potentia in Latin. High Magick. Now, it is written. What's a good way to approach this? A lot of times in ceremonial magic, people will take on, well, just magic period, people will take on a working name. In ceremonial magic, there's a lot of kind of symbology in it. So sometimes people will take on a name like Frater and then something else, and sometimes they do that. So the book is by Frater U, therefore D, therefore. Sorry, I have to use the philosophy because most people will understand what the triple dot is from philosophy. In it, though, he looks at money magic, cyber magic, that is techno magic, chaos magic, trance work, planetary and sigil magic, and of course, ceremonial style high magic. So that's in the pile. It is relatively dry, but there are some charts and some sigils. There's a lot of learning though. It's arranged in lessons with exercises to help the student or the reader through the content. Now, this is another one I got, once again from an author that I own no books of his. That's J.F. O'Neill. At least I believe it's a him. Yep, it's him. It's called Foundations of Magic, Techniques and Spells That Work. What convinced me of this book again was the reviews. People who have read it spoke very highly of it. So I decided, why not? Let's bring that out. Well, and that's that for that box. I suppose, on to the next. Oh, this is going to take a really long time. We're all going to be very tired by the end of this video. And I'm going to be hoarse. The great thing is, I have no idea what's inside this box. We picked a good box to go into next. Wow. So, remember how I said that High Magic, the book, was a series? The BAM! High Magic 2! Interesting. Now this one I have not read. I decided to get it because it's part of the series. I know a lot of you are going to see this symbol on the front and think, ooh, the Deathly Hallows. Actually, look a little bit closer. There's a square around that circle. That's an alchemical symbol. Dun, dun, dun. If you know what that symbol is, or would like to take a guess at what it is, why don't you message us? I know what that symbol is, and I'll be happy to tell you if you're curious. But for right now, let's leave it a mystery. Oh, gee, I'm running out of space. Ooh. Oh, now here's a book that I own and I love. A lot of people conceive of witchcraft as just being spells and potions and incenses and, you know, looking kind of fantastic in a cloak. However, there is a lot more of a religious side to it, especially in Wicca. There's a lot of pagan religions, religos, worship of the gods. This, a book of pagan prayer, this little tiny book is so incredible. It's not just filled with a whole bunch of prayers, it's filled with a bunch of information as to why we pray, and an analysis of kind of ancient pagan methods, what they did, how pagan prayer varies from then to now, and ways that we can include some of the beautiful, beautiful imagery from before into our modern practice. It's a really, really good book. It's been with us for a long time though. Let me just see when we started printing this. 1957. Yeah, no, it's been with us for a while. To put that in perspective for people, if I recall, Gerald Gardner published The Meaning of Witchcraft in 1959. So that puts us as actually just before he was reviving it in Europe. Shaboo! Good book. Good book. Love it. Love that book. Now here's another one I got called Connecting to the Power of Nature. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have to speed up on some of these. It's very obvious what it's about from the title. If you can't figure it out from the title, I don't think I can help you. 101 feng shui tips for your home. There's also another one about the apartment. Different sizes of space. With a home, you can do a lot more redecorating. With an apartment, you're a lot more limited. So I imagine that the apartment one quite likely goes much more in depth in how to alter flows, whereas the home one is going to go more into how to arrange to meet what you've got. The Path of Alchemy. Now, most people, when they conceive of alchemy, they conceive only of the chemical ideals or what they've seen in Hollywood. Alchemy is very misunderstood. The path of alchemy usually is more a path of enlightenment and development of the soul. The idea of turning lead into gold, or something of lesser value into something of much greater value, or seeking things like orichalcum or the philosopher's stone. They don't mean literal physical items, or at least some people hold. Instead, they mean enlightenment. and the Perfection of the Self. This is a book that explores that as a path. Now, I love the For Beginners series, because just like the Bibles, they're excellent at introducing people to concepts. The reason why I carry both the For Beginners series and the Bible series is because although the Bible series, there's a lot of them, they are not comprehensive, at least nowhere near as comprehensive as the For Beginners. For beginners, you might see maybe Psychic Powers, like a Psychic Powers Bible. I don't know for sure, I haven't seen all of the Bible series, or haven't got them all in yet. However, for beginners, you're going to see past lives, creative visualization, magical power, practical magic. They break things up a lot more, and they analyze things a lot more. So it allows the student to focus on one thing and learn a lot about that one thing. So this is Amulets and Talismans for Beginners. And they put things in a nice, easy to digest manner. They are, however, not as colorful and as easy to read as the Bibles. Now, there's magic in stones, but most people don't really consider when they're putting on the jewelry for the evening what kind of magical influences they're going to bring into themselves. Or they don't realize that by putting on certain gemstones in your jewelry, you can bring various elements into your life. Jewelry and gems for self-discovery is all about that. The author promises to change the way you'll look at jewelry and never see it the same way again. I'm very curious to take a peek in its pages, see what it's about. Oh, there's some pretty color photos. I gotta get away from those because I gotta move quickly through this stuff. Now, I had a Book of Shadows written by authors. I have some empty ones, but people have been asking me a lot essentially for grimoires. And I apologize to the people who are looking for the Grimoire of Lady Sheba. The Grimoire of Lady Sheba now is apparently out of print. So I'm going to have to see if I can find some sources for it in warehouses. Ones that were already printed but are kind of being shuffled around. I'll see what I can find. At the very least, though, my Jean Gonzalez Whippler has a Book of Shadows that she put out, and we have a copy of it. For those of you who the heck is she? Well, she's not a member of any large trad, from what I understand. If I recall, she's self-initiated. Yes. One of the things I enjoy most about her, though, is she's an anthropologist in her mundane life, which means in a religion where we look back into ancient practices in religion, she's got a very good view on it. She gets to do that as her day job. Now, I like to carry spirituality from all over the world, especially given that Canada is the global village, and more and more here on the prairies, we are seeing people come from all over the world, and so we're getting exposed to all sorts of fantastic cultures. So I got a little bit more on Santeria. I'm going to mispronounce this. Babalawo. Santeria's high priests, fathers of the secrets in Afro-Cuban Ifa. So we're looking at the religion of Santeria, also known as Lechumi. I totally mispronounced that, and I apologize to anybody I've offended with my mispronunciation. Babalawo means Babalawo. Yeah, no, I said that right. Babalawo means father of the secrets. So this book aims to pull away the veil of secrecy and reveal exactly what Ifa is and how it works, exploring history, cosmology, orishas. And speaking of, for those of you who are only Santeria, we have Orisha oils. Only Oran Mila at the moment, but I'm looking into getting more. I was actually just talking to a shaman about this book recently. I'm so glad it's here. Animal Dreaming, the symbolic and spiritual heritage of the Australian animals. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break here. I need a drink of water, and this is going to be really long. How about this? I'll come back shortly. I'll see you on the other side. Hi, welcome back for part 2. Apparently I have an inner anime girl. Oh boy, I apologize if I seem tired. It is after our normal hours on a Thursday, so I've already been here for just over 12 hours. It's getting on to 11:30 at night, but I'm gonna power through this. All right. Got Magical Gardens by Patricia Monahan. There's a lot of kind of green witches and people who love gardening, and you might as well read up on it in the winter while you can't garden. Now there's one I've been looking forward to, The Healer Within. He's a doctor of Oriental medicine. It's all about using traditional Chinese techniques to release your body's own medicine. This is not, again, I imagine he'll say that in the book, it's not meant to be a replacement for talking to an actual doctor. However, your body has many methods to engage in ensuring its own survival, and you can tap into those, as well as just taking pills. Pills are great. They can be. But this is to help out, because sometimes they don't just do enough, and you might as well use all your resources at your fingertips. And that sentence really came out roughly. I apologize. I'm tired. That's my excuse. Now here we have, I like the little book series. They're charming, they're cute. This is the Llewellyn's Little Book of Dreams. Now it bears mentioning with any kind of information on dreams, and I haven't read this. I imagine they'd probably go into it, but they'll always give you symbols and kind of interpretations. Keep in mind that your personal connotations are more important than an author's viewpoint. What I mean by that is spiders usually are fear, or there's a lot of things associated with them. As an individual, I like spiders. I came to like them very much. So spiders to me tend to represent intricate work. They tend to represent stick-to-itness, intelligence, preparation. I attribute different aspects to a spider, I suppose, than most. So whenever reading any book on dreams, remember what the connotation of the symbol is to you is more important than what it is to the person whose name is at the bottom of the cover. Now I like the Sociology of Religions, and I love studying different religions from all over the world, because you see a lot of differences, but you see commonalities, and I love those commonalities. This book is called The World's Religions, and it's looking at a lot of just what I was talking about. Do I own a copy? No, I don't own a copy, but in reading the reviews about it, it was fantastic. I love the quality of the paper in the book too, because it's very thin. The reason I like that is because it also means it's incredibly dense. For such a small book, lots and lots of talking in there. Ooh, the Elemental Shaymin. Now this is written from one person's perspective, looking into the heart of humanity, as he calls it, spirituality and ecology. I've got to move quicker through this, because last time it took me 20 minutes or so just to get through one box. I can't do that to you people. You're going to hate me by the end of this. We'll all be going crazy. Ooh, the Element Encyclopedia of Spirits. The Element Encyclopedia series is amazing. I love them. I don't know if it's in this order, I can't remember, but one of my favorite books of the Element Encyclopedia series is the Element Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells. And it is just that, actually. It's a little bit more than 5,000. The reason I like it is because it is inspiring. I'll go looking for banishing magic, and at my fingertips I have banishing magic techniques from a lot of different cultures. Now in this, they look at spirits from a lot of different cultures. And there's a few other Element encyclopedias as well. The Element Encyclopedia of Secret Societies is amazingly in-depth. It's phenomenal. Mystic Saints and Sages, Element Encyclopedia of Mythical Creatures, they're all really, really good. I much prefer the larger ones. They also come in paperback, but I love the big ones. So I apologize, I brought the big ones. Now, this is one, for those of you who've been in the craft for a while, you'll probably remember the Teen Witch Kit. Sadly, it came out right around when the movie The Craft came out, so then we had a whole bunch of raven-haired, digging grave dirt, fingernailed teenagers running around going, "I'm the witch, have you read the book?" Which book? There's so many. So many. Anyway, this is another book kind of aimed towards teens. It specifically addresses natural magic for teens. It's called Elements of Witchcraft. I think in describing, you know, the Teen Witch Kit that came out from Silver Ravenwolf, I feel in a way like I've done her a little bit of an injustice, because she is I really do enjoy her as an author. It was more just the timing that it came out, and it made a lot of people resent the Teen Witch Kit. But from everything I've read about this is actually really, really quite good. Really quite good. And I remember searching for spirituality when I was a teenager, and there was no books of that variety then. I would have killed for something like that. Well, not really. I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I killed somebody. Ooh. The Energy of Words. Use the vibration of language to manifest the life you desire. That doesn't just mean you can sit in a corner and go job, 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 job while you're eating chips and watching TV and not putting out any resumes. I always remember act in a court, but this looked all sorts of interesting. Now, by the looks of it, we're getting into a little bit of the higher magic. Let me just, actually, this one there. Okay, so this is the one, this is one of these things just doesn't belong here, at least on this level. This is the ABCs of chakra therapy. It's one thing to understand your chakras or understand the energy centers of others, but there's not a heck of a lot of guidebooks on what to do when there's imbalances, stuff like that. And this addresses that directly when using the chakras to help influence overall health. Now, high magic stuff. The Encyclopedia, Jewish Myth, Magic, and Mysticism. Oh, I want this book. But I'm going to put it down for now. Now, for those of you who are into the Golden Dawn, we have a few books. I sold actually one of my largest Golden Dawn books earlier today. The Essential Golden Dawn, an introduction to high magic, will just have to do. Although I have a few other titles written by Israel Regarde. If I recall, this is not written by Israel Regarde. It's written by Chick Cicero and Sandra Tabitha Cicero. I don't know them personally, but the reviews on it were amazing, and those reviews were written by people in the high magical community. Aspects of Occultism by Dion Fortune. That's a bit of a famous name. Now, if I recall, this was written kind of during the Theosophist resurgence in the late 1800s, like the 1890s or so. So I look forward to being able to peruse that. Now, it's funny, there are a bunch of old books which with modern printing techniques have become much smaller than they were. At the time, they were written on large pieces of parchment. They were these large, hoary texts. Now, when you actually distill things down, put them in a modern typeset, they take up a lot less space, like the Archdoxes of Magick by Paracelsus. Oh, did I say that right? Paracelsus, yes, yes, yes. Oh, good, memory serves. And this is a bit of a clone of the kind of the classic grimoires. It doesn't look like much now that it seems smaller, but it's every bit all the information it had in the original. Actually, if you want to see something really small, look for the Grimoire of Armadale. It used to be a big book, and it looks like a pamphlet. Now, before I show you the title of this one, let me just say it's kind of an alarmist title. People will see this and be like, doom, end of the world. The Book of Black Magic. For heaven's sake. It was written in a time period where any kind of magic was considered black magic, evil, horrifying, terrifying. Most of it actually really comes down to theurgy. A lot of it is talking to God and involving the Abrahamic God in ritual.